Six DIY tips to protect your home during freezing temperatures is what we're going to be talking about today. But before we get into all that, please like, comment, subscribe, share, especially subscribe for the YouTube channel. That really helps the most to grow this and get things going and get you a whole lot of other good Wichita videos, real estate videos, and home walkthroughs and cool things like that. But I'm going to go more in depth on this, and this is more than the text down below or what you saw on social media. There's 6 bullet points to go over that I'm going to screen share and show you and give you as much home construction, real estate advice and intel that I can give you towards being a homeowner and protecting your wealth, which is the majority of what this is about. It's not just owning a house, it's also protecting your wealth and equity within your house that you don't want to have to spend money on. So let me share my screen. All right. So here's the 6 tips for protecting your home during freezing temperatures. And these are all DIY. You don't need to necessarily hire a professional or be super handy in construction to understand these. It's all fairly straightforward stuff that just about anybody who listens to this and follows instructions can do. But the first one is protecting your pipes. So wrapping exposed pipes on the exterior of your home with insulation or towels to prevent freezing. Some of this can be on the interior of your home too, specifically anywhere that's near the outside exposure to the walls. So typically where you see this at is like your spigots that your hoses are connected to outside. Hopefully you have disconnected those hoses so that they can drip and any water that's in there. Because what happens with water is when it freezes, it expands. And when it expands, it'll break things. And when everything's frozen, you don't notice it. But then when everything thaws out and you turn the water back on, that's when you start to notice it because there's a crack, there's a leak, something got broken from that expansion of the ice as it got bigger when it turns into a solid form instead of a liquid form. And you don't know about it till later, but it happens when things freeze. And it's usually on the exterior of your home. Your spigots is a super common one. Another one I can think of is like your downspouts is another area that you want to keep real clear, which I'm actually kind of getting ahead of myself with number 4, which is check your gutters. So I'll keep that one for there. But also like your AC lines coming in and out of your house, any type of water supply line that you have going from your house out to the exterior house or even into like your garage or like your sump pump area, any type of supply line like your water heater line downstairs in your basement where it can be a little cooler in certain areas. To go with that, you want to make sure you have quality insulation in your house, but then in those specific areas where it can get kind of cold and it can thaw, or sorry, it can freeze. Because like right now in Wichita, it's 17 degrees in January. What is the day? The 6th, and at 1 p.m. or 1 a.m., it's going to be 1 degrees here or 1 degree here. So it gets pretty dang cold. If you're not familiar with Wichita, this gives you an idea of Wichita too, and what it's like, what to prepare for. One of the other ones you can do is let your faucets drip to keep water flowing. You don't necessarily have to let them drip, just leave them kind of like slightly open. And then another one is underneath those faucets, whether it's your kitchen vanity closet or your bathroom vanity closet, leave the doors open so that the hot air can flow into those and to keep those pipes under there warm, because if it's closed off and they get cold, then all that cold air stays in there instead of allowing the warm air to flow through. That's why you keep the vanity cabinet doors open to let air flow through there with that. So that's protect your pipes. That's probably one of the biggest ones where you see it the most, especially if you have a crawl space here in Kansas. That's one that is commonly not known, misunderstood, because it's not as easy to access as a basement. Is anything going on in your crawl space? Sometimes it warrants climbing under there, understand what's going on, make sure it's insulated around the pipes, and then the exterior of your house for your crawl space, and then potentially some undercoating things there. Depends on just how far you want to go with your crawl space, because crawl spaces are a big one here in Wichita and Kansas. If you're a slab on grade home, you don't have to worry about this as much because usually you're buried in the ground with your slab on grade homes, and that's enough insulation and pressure to hold it compact with everything and not have to deal with leaks. Second one would be sealed drafts. Use weather stripping or caulk around windows and doors to keep the cold air out. This is where you're definitely going to find out where these are in these times of colder weather, where your windows are drafty, your doors are drafty, It doesn't necessarily mean your house sucks or it's falling apart or you need to replace your windows or all these other things that contractors will come in and try to sell you a job on. There's some fairly simple DIY tips you can do to replace some weather stripping that commonly wears out or maybe isn't the best functioning, so that it's just airtight. That's all you're looking for, is for air to not be able to flow through there for ceiling drafts. So the same thing around like windows and doors, and some of this stuff you can't do now during the winter. You do it when it's warm out to protect during the winter. But moisture getting into your house is usually one of the biggest um, suspects for causing water problems in your house. And it usually happens during the winter months, when it's cold, when it's snow, when it's icy, not necessarily when it's like heavy rains on everything. Heavy rains do it too, but winter, I think, and snow is usually the biggest culprit, because the ice and the snow move so many things around, as opposed to just the liquid of water can flow usually with it also. That's why winter is usually a bigger culprit than warmer months. So reverse ceiling fans, this will help to run your ceiling fans clockwise on low to push warm air down. So it pushes the warm air down instead of keeping it all high, because heat rises. So a lot of your heat in your house, especially if you got vaulted ceilings, my house, it's going to be just chilling up there instead of coming down to where you want it, which is around you and your pipes and everywhere else that's going with that. Plus, it just gets the air to flow through your house a little bit better, so that it's not just all stagnant up there in the top on everything. And if you're like me, I like to keep certain rooms of the house hotter than others, like my office and my bedroom. I like to keep a little hotter than the rest of the house. So I have space heaters in there that are safely monitored and mounted, and then you can heat the rest of your house, whatever else you want there. But that way you're not having to overheat your house and put a lot of extra strain on your system, which we're going to get into in number 5. So that you're not overworking your furnace, because this can be one of the worst times for your furnace to go out. And so you call in additional support when it gets really cold, 1 degree, and you want your bedroom to be a certain temperature, but then the rest of the house can be a little colder. You don't want to strain your furnace too much, depending on the age of your furnace and how much risk you want to take there, and possibly blowing that thing out, burning it out on everything. So that's number 3, reverse your ceiling fans. 4, check your gutters, clear out debris to avoid ice buildup and potential roof damage. So this one is kind of one of those things where it's like you want to be preventative as much as possible before it snows, before you have problems, before you get a lot of ice in there. Is hopefully you did this during the fall, was clean out your gutters, clean your leaves out, make sure your downspouts. This is the one I see commonly. Make sure your downspouts have enough runoff and run away from them, so that they don't have water and ice start to back up into the gutter. Because what you'll start to see is you get an ice dam like right around the ice block of the gutter, or something is obstructing, and all this water pools, and it freezes, and then it makes its way all the way up your gutter, and then cracks your gutter, and then your gutter doesn't work right. And this is all stuff like people ignore over time. And then your gutter is just dumping water right around your foundation. Then over time, it pushes your foundation around, and then you have water in your basement. You have a way bigger problem than just a gutter problem. And when I say gutters, I'm specifically referring to like the downspouts the most. You can have a bunch of issues up top with your gutters near the roof line, because if they get full of water, they freeze up and they expand. That's where it can start to push around the fascia of your roof, and then get up and possibly back behind your fascia and into your house on it all. So some of these things you just never look at, never think to deal with on your house, just because you're living in it. You're got a million and one other things going on in your life besides worrying about your gutters and the water in your house. And this isn't even really home improvement. This is more just home maintenance. And when you start to look at it as equity maintenance and wealth maintenance and money maintenance, that you lose money by not doing this, that's a better way to frame it for you to take it seriously than saying like growing your money or making money with this. Because your house is an investment. It's a storage account, and you got to take care of it though in order for it to maintain its value. Goes with that. So hopefully all of this content around being a good homeowner coaches you to be a better homeowner with everything. And ultimately, I hope you come to me for buying and selling houses for what I'm helping you with on your house. So that's the trick. That's the game. Number 5 is prepare your heating system. Change filters and check for proper function to keep your home warm and efficient. The filter one you should be doing once a quarter, is my opinion. I'm no HVAC tech. Some of them might tell you once a month. Some of them might tell you longer. My attitude is kind of once every quarter. It's a good idea to check those. It's usually what most landlords do too for their properties, because these are all good things to do if you're a landlord also, as a regular maintenance and wealth protection. And also it's just a value add for your tenants to show that like you take care of your properties and you care, and you're not that lazy landlord that's just kind of a slum and a bum type of thing. But preparing your heating system for the work it's about to take on for the winter, it's always a good idea to have a regular check twice a year too, right before it gets cold, and then once it starts to get hot out. So that way your system is in most optimized functioning for the season ahead, whether it's cold or hot. Because in Kansas, as you've heard me say before, you get every season here, like, and you get to experience the most of every season, which is good and bad. Like it just snowed the other day. We went out, had a snow day, and that's kind of fun. And it's kind of like, if it's going to be this cold, it better snow. Might as well make it worth it to go do that. But we definitely have cold seasons and snow here, and you want to make sure your heating system is up for the job and doing what it needs to. And number 6, last but not least, is stock up on essentials. And what I mean by essentials is not bread and milk, which is, I never understood that, why so many people go to the store to buy bread and milk as soon as it's getting ready to be nasty out, because I don't know why that is like the thing. Like usually I can study and understand a lot of human behavior, but that's one that still boggles my mind and baffles me, that it's like, oh no, it's getting cold out, we need some bread and milk. I was like, but you didn't need bread and milk before. Why do you need bread and milk now that it's cold out? Like it's just, humans are funny. What I do mean by essentials though is keep salt or sand on hand for icy walkways, and make sure flashlights and batteries are easily acceptable or accessible. Candles is another good idea on one. And then this is a good one too, is any of your snow removal tools to go with the salt and the sand, make sure they're in a place where you can get to them, that they're not icy, they're not hard to get to, they're in good function, they're working, they're easily accessible. Same thing with like a lot of your winter clothes or things that you need to go out of the house to spread the salt or sand or get around, that kind of thing. And those things are essential, and it's one of those type of things that you don't really think about or talk about unless you need it. But once you need it, it's kind of too late. So you want to be prepared for these type of things, just to make your winter weather experience as enjoyable as possible, and to keep you alive and safe and warm and healthy and all those things. But hopefully that helps you understand a little bit more about real estate, owning a home, protecting your equity, and also Wichita that comes with all that. Appreciate you watching as always. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all those fun things. If you want to check out other videos of Wichita and real estate that I have for you, go ahead and check out the channel. And I look forward to talking to you soon one day. See ya.